exactly just before the budget and with an ambitious plan of Viksit Bharat, we are trying hard as a country to come up with a roadmap which really takes us there. The current economic structure requires some serious reforms. This has been discussed all the time. But now is the time where there is an aggressive clarity and plan, aggressive, clear plan. So I will start with Mr. Panagariya. You have just written a book and you have considered all aspects of our economic priorities. So what are your opening remarks?
Okay, no, there is a lot that we have done in the past, including under the current Prime Minister Modi, and there is a lot left to be done. I would start, say, with the implementation of the 4 labor codes. These are labor codes which we had enacted in the Parliament in 2019 and 2020, but their implementation is still to be done. So I think that would be, that in some sense today is the low-hanging fruit. Once that is out of the way, there is a whole host of reforms which have to do with the GST, personal income taxation, privatization, higher education reform. So there are areas, I've always felt that reform is a long-drawn, ongoing process. It's not a one-time deal. We, for good reasons, celebrate 1991, but that was just the beginning. 3 decades later, we still have things to do.
Yeah. So 91 reference comes very often, Mr. Singh. What we need to understand to go forward now, that some past experience has to be understood in the correct perspective, so we don't make those mistakes. There is still a great overhang of centralized command and control economy. The economic activity has to be led by public sector, over importance on public sector enterprises with strong bureaucratic control. These legacies, the baggage, we have to shed.
No, I agree fully with what you are saying. And in the light of what my friend Arvind Panagariya has said, that there is a lot which has been achieved in the last few years under the Prime Ministership of Prime Minister Modi. A lot more needs to be done. But since your question is directly on the overhang and the shadows of what circumstances led to 1991, the fact remains that we were under the shadow of Fabian socialism. That baggage determined the course of economic strategy and policy, beginning from our independence with the constitution of the Planning Commission, a controlled economy, a controlled planned economy with micromanagement. And we have, in spite of repeated attempts, not fully been able to shed that mind. That kind of an overhang of the mindset reflects itself on the difficulties which we are encountering in the reforms of the factors of production, which was partly alluded. Labor is one, capital is the other, in terms of our ability to look at the most efficient modalities for banking intermediation, making capital available at efficient cost. In terms of availability of land, for instance, I think that we have not been able to get out of the fact, and to make India a competitive destination for not only doing business, but also making India an attractive place for being able to harness our export capability and to manage our balance of payments in a credible way. We have, therefore, a daunting agenda ahead, and this daunting agenda needs to be addressed if we are to realize our quest to become a developed economy by 47. Another important area of economic reforms is to do away with this constant cycle of elections taking place every second day. This distracts from governance, this distracts from the promises made to the electorate, fritters the energy into wasteful freebies expenditure, leads to higher fiscal deficit, puts a strain on every segment of the governance process, from policemen to teachers to health workers. I do believe that the initiative which has been taken in introducing this bill in Parliament for one nation, one election constitutes a very, very far-reaching, important reforms far beyond the political matrix, which has huge implications for economic growth and development.
If I may add, on this very, very important issue that Mr. Singh has mentioned, one nation, one election, when elections happen repeatedly, it also impacts the government's ability to introduce reforms. The current situation actually provides a good example that May 2024, we had the parliamentary elections, and since then we have been having one or another election every 6 months. And that obviously denies the government the ability to bring in major reforms, because they then become the bone of contention during the elections. Even now, if we look up, it appears there is a 1-year window, but even during this 1-year window, you got the election in Delhi, you got the election in Bihar. So, when these repeated elections happen, they, as Mr. Singh has said, they really impact the ability, the governance, everything, and that has far-reaching implications for economic growth. So if this very, very important reform actually takes place, I think reforms will move faster.
And you can watch that entire interview with NDTV's Sanjay Pugalia at 8:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.